Welcome to the Cashflow Ninja, the podcast sharing how to create and grow income streams and manage, multiply, and protect your wealth in the new economy. Are you tired of trading your time for money? Do you desire freedom today instead of retirement in 10, 20, or 30 years? I'm MC Laubscher, and this is the Cashflow Ninja. This is Cashflow Ninja. My name is MC Laubscher, and thank you so much for joining me in another episode of the Cashflow Ninja. I've got another great show for you with another great guest. He's a great friend of mine, Matt Faircloth. Actually, only lives about 15 minutes from me, but we're doing this online. We're busy. Great to see you, Matt.
It's great to see you too, brother. I haven't seen you in so long since Corona crazy, but yeah, we do live around the corner from each other. We'll have to get together when the world settles down a little bit.
Absolutely. Now, for folks that is not familiar with Matt Faircloth and what he does, he's going to share a little bit about his background first, but I do want to mention that Matt has been a previous guest on the show. Along with all of our other shows, you could go to cashflowninja.com. It's a newly relaunched, redesigned website. So go check it out. There's a ton of resources. All of our previous episodes are there, and Matt's previous episode is there. We definitely want to listen to that. He shares a lot about raising capital, and I mean, this is a skill set that is going to be very much needed in the environment that we're in. But without further ado, Matt, for folks not familiar with you and what you do, can you please share a little bit about your background and journey with them?
Certainly. So, first of all, thank you for having me here, and hello to all your guests. And it's great to be back. So, my wife and I started dating in 2002, and I was a traveling sales rep for a company called Ingersoll Rand, and I sold their large machines all across industrial machinery all across New Jersey and Pennsylvania. That was my territory. Happy enough, I think a lot of employees, I was happy enough to get by, but wasn't really fulfilling my passion per se, but was getting paid just enough to stay in the job and not quit, right? Which sounds very similar in that. And my wife changed my girlfriend at the time, changed my life and put Rich Dad Poor Dad in my hand. And it made me realize the whole nother world that's available through entrepreneurship, and to really chase your passion and to live life really on your own terms and to take your time back. And so we're dating, and I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, blew my mind. We started buying a few rentals during our courtship before we got married, believe it or not. And then we got married in 2005, and I very quickly quit my job with Ingersoll Rand, and we started the DeRosa Group, which is our real estate investment company. Did a lot of residential housing. We've always grown up through residential housing as a company, and just built it up through then over the years, and built it a lot on the back of our own money for many years, and then started working. We felt like we had built a track record to start working with private investors, which we started doing in 2011. Got through the recession, through the crash, and saw a great opportunity in 2011 to get into real estate investing, and we decided to scale up and take it a lot bigger. So we took our company multiple iterations larger in 2011 when we started working with passive investors. Kept it primarily focused on residential real estate. We own an office complex and some other ancillary assets too, but our core and our passion has been in residential, in providing housing for sale and providing housing for rent. It's something we love. We feel like it's such a core business and a core thing of what people need. And one of our missions is to transform lives through real estate. And we think that we can get there by providing exemplary, above standard housing, and providing something that people provide to be a home, that people look at as a home, while also providing great returns for people that invest with us. So that's the DeRosa Group in a nutshell.
Awesome. I just wanted to add too, like, one of the things that I really admire about Matt and Liz Faircloth, which is Matt's wife. She's also been a previous guest on the show. She's built an incredible community, the investor community. One of the things is you guys are very authentic, and you're very open and share what's going on and how you build your business. And they're both also contributors to Bigger Pockets, which is actually through which Matt's book is launched, and they have they've gotten quite a following on Bigger Pockets because they just share of what they're doing and walking around. There's a ton of videos that Matt's just walking around properties saying, look at this, the good, the bad, the ugly. This is what it is. And people really, they gravitate towards that because, you see a lot of, how can I say, just real estate celebrities, but they don't really open the hood for you to see what's underneath it. So really appreciate that. And maybe you can speak a little bit too to the culture, collaboration, because you guys collaborate a lot within your company, within your businesses, and on other platforms.
Yeah. So, well, we're all about collaboration, and I'm all about, as you said, about bringing out people's core strengths. Bigger Pockets has been a phenomenal community. One of the reasons why I love Bigger Pockets is because, unlike a lot of the other real estate education sites out there, Bigger Pockets is a very affordable site to learn from. They're not going to require you to pay them, $10,000 or whatever for their weekend boot camp class or anything like that. Most of the stuff's free. And put on by hands-on real estate investors like myself. So big shout out to biggerpockets.com, phenomenal community and phenomenal investment resource. Now, with regards to team building and sharing and collaboration and things like that, we believe, as you do, and I know you and I are both products of the strategic coach mentality through Dan Sullivan, that everybody's got what you call a unique ability. And so our goal is through teammates to bring out the unique ability they may have, and which allows me to focus just on my unique ability. So that's something DeRosa has prided itself upon. And I attribute a lot of that to my wife, who for 10 years while we were, when she was working, she was marketing a product called the Predictive Index, which is similar to like the Myers-Briggs and stuff like that. That's a personality assessment. And the intention of those things really are to uncover what someone's, God-given talents are, right? And if you know what those talents are, you can really exemplify them in business and find out, okay, this person's a salesperson. They shouldn't be working in the warehouse. They need to be out selling. Or this person is a great analyst. They shouldn't be in front of customers. Maybe they should be analyzing opportunities, whatever that may be. And we pride ourselves on putting the right butts in the right seats in our company through tools like that and through the Dan Sullivan mentality through Strategic Coach.
Absolutely. And that's allowed you to operate within markets and build phenomenal teams on the ground in the markets that you guys operate in. I think like a great kind of topic for today's conversation is how to find still great multifamily deals, which is your niche, in uncertain times, because we're definitely living in them. So I was going to start a little bit about the markets and how to still find great deals in the markets. And I know you've built up a phenomenal network in a lot of these markets that you operate in, but maybe you can share a little bit with our listeners and viewers just how it's still very much possible, even in uncertain times.
Yeah, it is. And here's the thing, MC, for those that were rubbing their hands together, waiting for the market to air quote crash, we're waiting for a market correction because we're due, or waiting for COVID to create a real estate mess that's going to be similar to 2007, 2008 that we saw back then. I think that those folks are going to be holding their breath for a while. If there is a market correction, or if COVID does create just trickle down to real estate value, that's not going to happen for the next, say, 18 to 24 months, right? Because it just takes that long for things like that to work their way through the system, right?
Yep.
And for foreclosures to happen, and for bottoms to fall out, and for ripple effects to push their way through, right?
We are living through unprecedented times, and many experts say that in the coming months and years, we're about to see some of the best real estate opportunities of our lifetime. Who's going to benefit the most from these opportunities? Those with access to capital, which is where the Real Estate Accelerator comes in. Brought to you by Good Egg Investments, the Real Estate Accelerator is an online course and mastermind that will give you everything you need to raise private capital for real estate syndications. Through building a killer brand that attracts the right investors, you'll be able to take advantage of the upcoming opportunities and scale your business. To learn more, check out cashflowninja.com/goodegg.
Now, What I'm getting at here is what COVID did do, and what the recession we're working our way into is going to do, is it's going to make sellers that need to sell more motivated. And so what I find that real estate investors can do well with is to find the seller that needs to sell for whatever it is, aging out of the business. We've done so well with owners that are aging out, that are just too old, want to hang up their hat, want to retire. Those folks don't care as much about how many dollars they get in the transaction. What they care more about is how clean you can make the sale. If you can make it a nice nice, easy, rip the Band-Aid off, get it done type of transaction, they're willing to give you your number. Folks like that, folks like the property that we're buying a new property in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. That's a really exciting acquisition. And that seller is just simply, like we all do, he's exiting a partnership. And he's in the middle of a partnership that's had a beginning, middle, and an end, and he needed a nice, clean sale without a lot of hair on it, that just make it nice and easy. Now, he is a good candidate for someone who's looking to move right now and is not looking to get the absolute top dollar that they can for their property, and is willing to consider the factors of COVID. So if you're able to find a motivated seller, but maybe not a seller in distress, you're able to put together a win-win deal. I'm not in the business to take advantage or to bend people over or whatever. I still want people to win and succeed and do more transactions with me. So I'm not that buyer that's going to try and scrap and claw and cut somebody's throat in a transaction. I try and do win-win, right? And you can structure win-win if you can give somebody something else that's not price, like a fast transaction, or taking the hairy meatball off their plate, something like that. Taking the problem child and just getting it away from them, so they don't have to deal with it anymore. Those are the transactions that we try and do. And I think that in buying, one more thing to add to that is, during uncertain times that we are in right now, it makes the most sense to buy deals that make money day one. Before COVID, when we were looking at transactions, and this is us too, DeRosa Group was doing this as well. I'm not innocent either. Most syndicators were looking at opportunities that had the potential to make a lot of money in the future. These are opportunities, call it a development deal. We were looking at development stuff, like building new things. And that we've since gotten away from that, because you're in a development, you're relying on what the market's going to look like a year and a half from now when it's time to put it up for lease or put it up for sale, right?
Yeah.
So we want to do deals that make money today. I want a deal that produces cash the day I close on it. And it takes some of the speculative side of it away, but it also takes away some deals that probably could be very lucrative if you read the tea leaves right. And we've all done that. Pre-COVID, everybody was trying to read the tea leaves and what was going to happen, where things were going to go and all that. But post-COVID, the way we're looking at the market is, I want it to make cash flow today, and I want the opportunity to squeeze the lemon further to make more cash flow in the future. So when we look for markets, when we look at deals, we're looking at opportunities where there's a motivated seller that I can make cash on day one. That's really my equation for success.
And the markets that you're looking at is some of the markets that you're already in, and you have an established network, you have an established team, you have a relationship with the property management group that you've been working with for years. You know the ins and out of their business. You know what they can produce, right?
Yeah, I do. Well, we also, MC, it's important to note that we don't invest in top tier markets in the US. Or some people have scoffed at that, but we don't invest in markets that are like, that you've heard of, that oh yeah, Orlando is blowing up, or Atlanta is taken off as a great market to invest in, or have you heard about what's going on in Dallas? No, I don't care what's going on in Dallas, because I would never invest there, because it's already the secret's out of the bag. And you cannot say that the only good markets are the ones that get talked about in the newspaper as markets that are taking off and have lots of growth, right? There are growth parameters that markets show. There are data points you can monitor and that determine a good market before it's out of the bag. So we use data, strict data, not headlines, to determine which markets we want to get ourselves into. So we're in markets you might not have heard of as much. We're in Lexington, Kentucky, because the data shows that market to be taking off. We're in North Carolina, in a lot of cities in North Carolina, because North Carolina as a state is primed for enormous growth. Two cities there, Winston-Salem and Fayetteville.
Yeah.
Not Raleigh, not Charlotte, because Raleigh and Charlotte are the ones you hear about, right? And those are the ones that all of our competitors are flocking and bidding each other up, and you're overpaying for property. The properties don't cash flow day one there. And yes, they may see some growth, but I think the cat's out of the bag on real estate valuations in those markets. And so those are already gone. So Winston-Salem and Fayetteville are getting the same benefit that those other markets are, in being in North Carolina. And they're also close enough for those other cities that they're going to get some spillover too. And you can still get great deals in those markets.
Yeah, and I think if you're looking at the trends now post-COVID, I mean, you guys were very well positioned because a lot of folks are moving out of bigger cities and moving out of more well-known cities to some of the other markets, like you said, because of cost of living. They can work remotely, maybe they're still fearful of, a second wave or a virus or so forth. So there's so many different reasons, but it definitely played into those, as you would say, the lower tiered markets, which is just poised for growth.
Yeah. And we factor those things in. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, again, we're in a lot of uncertainty, but we all still there's deals to be done. And if you do the right deals, you can do well. But we've baked in a lot of, call it like safety nets into deals that we do, including this one in Winston-Salem, where, I mean, our debt to project cost ratio is the lowest it's ever been. Meaning, like, we're borrowing the least amount of money at the cheapest interest rate that we can find on government-backed loans. That, God forbid, there's a second wave. The first thing the government's going to do is what they did in March. They're going to start doing forbearance on mortgages, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to get forbearance, then have to make your monthly payments and things like that. So we are pursuing government-backed loans at low interest rates, at low leverage. Because God forbid if something like that happened, or if another thing, I mean, 2020 has been a roller coaster ride. So if whatever next thing the universe has in store for us happens, those government-backed mortgages have a lot more insurance and a lot more security on them than the non-government-backed loans do. So,
yep. Absolutely. Financing is absolutely cardinal in any deal. I want to talk a little bit about some of the data, because I think that's very interesting too. And especially in certain times, I always think of the analogy from the sports background is there's unknown variables, right? So how do you control unknown variables? You limit and reduce the impact, which you can do in certain markets. If you look at the demographics, as you mentioned, more people moving in than moving out, and it's poised for growth, but also jobs diversity, and then the people that are going to be renting in those areas. Maybe you want to speak to that a little bit and how you look at those during uncertain times.
Sure. Well, first of all, just like as you said in sports, I mean, there is like the butterfly effect. And so like what cleats your competitor's wearing may have a factor, if there's mud on the field or whatever. There's no way you're going to know that until you're out on the field. But what you can do, you can affect the KPIs, like the key performance indicators. And so as a real estate owner, we try and we're doing now low leverage deals, and we're doing deals in diverse job markets. So if there were a big recession or a big fallout or whatever that has to do with any number of things, any factor, any of the hundreds of factors that control our economy, if there is something, we're not relying on one industry. So one industry that's in Winston-Salem, North Carolina could shut down or have issues or whatever. Winston-Salem's an enormous college town. Now, colleges could decide they're going to either shut down or not go back, or college enrollments may start to dwindle, but that's okay because it's also there's an enormous medical network there. There's five large corporations that have headquarters there. Their corporate headquarters are there in Winston-Salem or in the Piedmont Triad as well, right? There are different industries, not education. Now, by the way, mind you, Winston-Salem is the home to Wake Forest University, which is going back to school face-to-face in September, right? Not every school is doing that, so it's a good indicator. But my point was, MC, is we monitor big KPIs on real estate. So I said job diversity, leverage to debt. We monitor just the way the property is performing in the market, given what the market's rents are. So this property is about 20% below the market for its asset class. So if the market took a dip, right? Let's just say for round numbers, the market is yielding $600 for a one bedroom apartment.
Investors, don't sleep on this market and trends. Did you know that in many cities across the U.S., renters now outnumber owners, and demand will only increase? More and more will be renting in droves, and it's putting the squeeze on a tight rental market. Four Peaks Capital Partners has been successfully investing in this proven, recession-resistant sector for years, providing investors with passive income and capital appreciation. Protect your portfolio and invest in private real estate funds, because the demand for affordable housing will only increase. Invest with Four Peaks and let us do all the work. Find out more by calling 8775-INCOME. That's 8775-INCOME. Or visit privateincomeinvesting.com. That's privateincomeinvesting.com.
In that market, in the same condition that we're in, we're getting $500 for that same condition unit. So the market could dip and drop to $575 or $550, right? You know, the sky could fall, and you could have lots of delinquencies, and you could have lots of layoffs and vacancy increases and everything like that. But if we're at $500 a door, I still can survive. And if I cash flow at $500, which I do, by the way, but if I cash flow at $500, then I can ride the wave. And I might not make my high-end returns that I might want to make, but at least I stay afloat. At least I live another day, which is really what it's all about in sports and also in recessions and things like that. It's about staying alive till the next quarter so that you can, you know, as the market comes back and everything like that, you can do well. So we've factored in things that I think can absorb a lot of different factors. So I don't have to think of all of it. I've just got to think of a few of the big KPIs that we look at in real estate.
And even the vacancy too, right? That's something that you guys looked at too from a, let's just say, a due diligence kind of worst case scenario. Let's underwrite this. What was some of the approaches that you would take there?
I turn it around. So vacancy is one thing, but let's turn it around the other way. Let's talk about break even, right? Like how many of my units need to be occupied for me to pay my bills, right? For me to pay all my obligations on the site and all my mortgages, right? I know that number on this site, it's 59%, and I'm 94% occupied right now, but at 59%, I can at least meet my obligations. I can keep my lights on and keep my bank from knocking on my door, right? One of those two things are prevented to happen. I can pay my payroll too. I can pay all my payroll, pay all my staff, pay my real estate taxes, everything at 59% occupied. Now, you don't want to just do that. You got to be able to pay investors their due and everything like that. So we've also figured out the break evens for those other milestones, right? And so it's important to look at a deal. We looked at one deal where the break even was something like 85%. You know, that's too much. I won't do that deal because and the broker was like, what are you talking about? The property's occupied. The property's at 98% occupied. It is now. You're right about that. But who knows? You know, I mean, you've got to, if you're playing a recession, you've got to factor in the effects of that recession into your business plan. You got to budget for a 10 to 15% drop of things. And at 87% break even, it's too close to the top for me, you know? So that's how we look at vacancy rates and things like that, MC, is we look at how much cushion do I have for things to fall before I can't meet my obligations anymore.
Yeah, it takes away, again, this is great strategies for investing in uncertain times, because you're not banking on, you know, the once upon a time scenario, which which every broker,
it's not that time anymore.
You know,
once upon a time is not even worth talking about, you know?
Yep, absolutely. Very, very, very conservative underwriting and so forth too. So some of the projects already that you guys have been involved in so far, one of the things obviously was it was all hands on deck in the beginning, preparing for what might come. What were some of the things that you guys have implemented in some of the properties during during the COVID period this year? Because your rents collected has still been very, very high.
We've gone up. Yeah, we've in every one of my properties has increased in collections and increased in occupancy post-COVID. And that's because, and have you had Justin Fraser on the show yet?
Yes.
Okay, my man.
Yep.
Justin Fraser is our asset manager, and he is like the scientist of property management in that. So he came up with a method. I got to give him all the credit for that one. And in that. So Justin came up with a methodology to say, okay, well, what does the world want right now? I mean, and during COVID, this is like during March and April when people were really trying to figure things out. During COVID, people were like, okay, I need contactless showings. I need to be able to look. I'd have to move, but I need to be able to look at an apartment, and I can't be near someone. This is before people were going out with masks on. When you just couldn't be around people, you know, and that. So Justin designed a methodology that we were able to market. We do social distancing approved showings, right? And then there was a lockbox on the unit that was a lockbox that folks could just put in a code and get in the door on. And people could do the entire process of posting their rent, paying their security deposit, signing their lease, everything hands off. Now, a lot of the technology existed already, but not many people were screaming it from the mountaintop that they could do it, right? So Justin assembled the workflow to make it happen. And things like DocuSign have been around forever, right? Not forever, but for the last 5 years. So, and the courts accept DocuSign now as a legally signed document. So I can have the tenant sign their lease by DocuSign. Okay, check that box. I've been able to send people cash electronically for years. Put that in the wheelhouse too, right? The social distancing showings of allowing a tenant to show the unit themselves with a lockbox. We had to find a few companies that can do that, but that technology is there too. And even to the point where the tenant has to give their credit card and a driver's license before they get the lockbox code. So God forbid they trash the apartment, they forget to lock the door, they do something irresponsible. I at least have their personal information. So Justin assembled that and then marketed it that we could do social distancing approved showings. And we had one property go up. We had something like 48 leases in the last 3 months on that. And this was a big value add. Property was like 55, 60% occupied when COVID set in, and we're now over 80% pre-leased. So it was amazing what he's been able to do. And that increase is factoring in evictions and people moving out and people skipping. We've still been able to increase the occupancy of the site by over 20%.
That's incredible. And the capabilities that you've now created with all of this, I mean, this is just things that you're going to use moving forward to just streamline and make things more,
right. I don't have to have my leasing agent can now do more effective things instead of stopping what they're doing, going out and locking a door, showing it to a tenant. Let the tenant do that on their own time. And now a tenant wants to go look at an apartment at 7:00 at night after my leasing agent's gone home. Go ahead, do it. It's all automated, right?
Yep.
Inspired by a lot of your, by a lot of things we've gotten from you on automations and funnelizations of business practices. We've been able to funnelize the leasing process, and it's really done well for us. And we're just getting started. We've been looking at doing a lot of that on everything. We're implementing a new method. This isn't my idea. This is someone else's, but we're bringing it in. I'm really great at partnering with other people and bringing in their good ideas into my business. We're going to start doing financial training with our tenants. There's no reason why a tenant shouldn't get the same financial education that you and I get that's offered through books like Rich Dad Poor Dad or just about how to read a balance sheet and how to balance a checkbook and everything like that. So we partnered up with a not-for-profit that's going to offer online education to our tenants for free on how to balance their checkbook, how to build a savings account, how to start setting aside, and how to live on less than what they earn. Things that people should have got taught in school in this country, but we're not teaching that, so that's okay. We'll teach it to them. Isn't that great?
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's our next level. That's our next level, is teaching financial education to our tenants.
Just something, for listeners and viewers out there, it's just things like that differentiates you and that makes the place where you live so valuable, right? Just access to that. Forget the pools and the tennis courts and all that kind of stuff, empowering people at the same time where they live. I mean, just think of the impact that's going to have, right? It's going to have maximum impact.
Yeah, and the pools and the tennis courts are important too, which we're going to have also at this property. Yep. Not tennis courts, but pools and a soccer field in that. But that's important as well because it makes people feel like it's home. And then the children can get out and interact, and children can build social environments and everything like that. And children can have outdoor space and get some fresh air for themselves and everything like that too. That's important as well. But then also I want to teach mom and dad how to be more financially sound too. And that's transforming lives through real estate. That's what we're all about.
And sticking to your mission. Great stuff. Do you want to share a little bit about that project, that deal, just and the strategy involved with it? And maybe if there's anything that you want to share with our listeners and viewers regarding it?
Sure. Well, it's a great opportunity. It's a 336 unit apartment complex, which is, I'm proud to say, the largest acquisition we've done. Super excited. Our team has been waiting and chomping at the bit to get their teeth into something big like this. I've got a large team that is poised for a large turn like this.
Camaplan is one of the leaders for personalized tax-deferred and tax-free IRA planning. Camaplan's team can assist you to take control of your retirement funds and financial future through self-directed investing. They offer support to clients throughout the entire process, from opening your first account to making your first purchase to self-managing your assets. Camaplan works with a growing network of investment providers in all asset categories and offer free investor education through classes, events, and webinars with over 15 years of leadership in self-directed retirement investing. Camaplan will help you unlock a convenient and safe way to manage your retirement investments and discover financial freedom beyond traditional investments, beyond Wall Street, and go from forever taxed to never taxed. Start to take control over your retirement funds and financial future today by visiting cashflowninja.com/Camaplan.
Property manager that's coming in on this property manages 30,000 units, and their headquarters is 30 minutes away from this property. So we're going to get in, and we're going to keep a lot of the tenant base there. We're going to slowly bring rents up to match market, but we're going to deliver amenities that are going to exceed the market just to bring rents up to market. So we're going to do nice unit turns, beautiful kitchens, nice hardwood floors, remodeled bathrooms and everything like that to bring the property up, total next level renovations on the property, new amenity packages. It's got a pool, but the pool's not full. It's full of swamp right now. It's like a swamp pool right now. So we're going to fill it back up and renovate it and bring it back online and make it beautiful. So exterior renovations, repainting the ugly 1970s brick, and making it beautiful on the outside and beautiful on the inside too. And so I'm super excited about it. It makes money day one, like I had said before, so it meets a lot of my standards. And it's about a mile from downtown Winston-Salem. You can actually see the Winston-Salem downtown skyline from the property, which is really cool because it's kind of built on a hillside, so you can see all of downtown just across the distance. So I love all my properties. They're all like children of mine and everything like that. But this one's going to be something really special for us and our investors. And it's it's not just about the money. It's about making a difference too. But this property is really positioned to make a lot of money for investors on top of doing everything else that it's important for us to properties to do, like making a difference. This property is going to make a lot of money too. So I'm really excited for that.
That's awesome, and it's definitely one of those projects that you're never going to forget. No. At this stage you're always going to have the memory of, man, can you believe we went through that in 2020 and we were part of this major project.
It'll be very memorable.
Absolutely. Now, Matt, there's a webinar that you're hosting to share more information on this for folks, but these are for accredited investors. Maybe you can just speak a little to that. And for non-accredited investors, listen to this show again. Go back, replay it, because there's so much just great content packed into this. And I appreciate you already just sharing so much value with us, Matt.
Sure. So yeah, this is for accredited only. And for those that want to know more about that, you can simply you could just Google accredited investor, and Investopia has a phenomenal definition of it that's out there. And perhaps you can provide a link for the definition for folks that want to know and that. But yes, for accredited only, you can watch the webinar. I believe we're going to have it here at Cashflow Ninja's website, cashflowninja.com/DeRosa. You guys can get a copy of the webinar. Going to be really exciting, and we've got a very clear, streamlined process to once you've watched the webinar and you're interested in the deal, the next steps are very, very easy to fulfill through this phenomenal online portal that we built. That you can go and interface with us and download the documents you need, and DocuSign everything. We've made it very seamless in that, 'cause we just believe in making things easy and going the extra mile. So that's what's there for you. So I think they can get that by just going to cashflowninja.com/DeRosa. They can get the recording of the webinar and know what the next steps they need to take are.
Awesome. Now, of course, I always ask folks what they're excited about, and I know this is something you're very excited about, but it's been an interesting year. You're a lifelong learner too, studying and learning, and I'm always interested to hear what successful and wealthy folks are studying and learning. What are you studying and learning right now?
I'm studying and learning a lot of books on manifesting prosperity and just mental, mental, just kind of what you put out, you get kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm also studying a lot. Our probably mutual friend, Brandon Bouchard, a lot of his stuff and that, and he's got a online mastery program that I've signed up for, and a lot of social media training that he's got out there and stuff about really establishing ourselves as thought leaders, because we've all got, unique abilities. And whether the thought leader that you are is in real estate like I am, or in financial management as you are, or in auto mechanic, world, how to tear apart things and put them back together, whatever it is, whatever your God-given talent is, unique ability, you can be a thought leader in that space. So Brandon Bouchard is teaching me through the program that I signed up for on how to really brand and package a message to where people really get what you have to say. So that I'm studying that right now. And I'm also, like I said, doing some mindset level stuff, just because with the media I'm seeing, with everything going on in the world right now, it can be very easy to go down the negative route and everything like that. And I think that the successful folks, even more so now, are going to be the ones that keep their conversations, to keep their words and their thoughts and their deeds positive. And so I'm just really focusing on positivity with everything going on. And I've stopped reading the news recently after I talked to you personally the other day. And I was like, you know what, he's right. I got to stop reading the media. And that. So I'm taking my head out of all that and just focusing in positive mindset level stuff.
That's awesome. And yeah, absolutely. Controlling our environment and our thoughts and our minds this year, it's going to be more, it's going to be key. And, the next,
now. Yeah.
Oh, it's just going to get crazier and crazier. So
I think
it's
so.
definitely important for folks to know that. I also want to just mention that Matt has got a phenomenal YouTube channel where he shares a ton of stuff. So Matt, maybe for folks that, where can they reach, or where could they see that, or what's the easiest place to touch base if they just want to see the videos and stuff? Where should they go to?
Sure. Well, first of all, we could probably put a link to it at cashflowninja.com/DeRosa. We could put it there,
Okay.
but also they can go to just, youtube.com and look up DeRosa Group. And I believe it's also youtube.com/DeRosa, DeRosa Group as well, is our YouTube channel and everything like that. But we can one-stop shop it for you guys. You can put everything right there at that Cashflow Ninja site, in that, so you guys can read more about us. You get access to our website and everything like that. Whatever you guys want to do to learn more about us, you can pick up a copy of my book, Raising Private Capital, through my website as well, which is DeRosaGroup.com.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll throw in the links at cashflowninja.com/DeRosa. It's DeRosa. So
right.
we'll put the links there and include it in the show notes for the episode too. Matt, always a pleasure, my friend. Appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your journey and your knowledge, and just, again, providing so much value for all of our listeners and viewers out there.
Thank you so much for having me, MC. It's always a pleasure to chat with you.
Awesome. That is another episode of the Cashflow Ninja. Appreciate you guys and gals spending your most valuable resource, your time with us. Again, all of our past shows, all of our resources, everything is at cashflowninja.com. Until the next episode, live infinitely. This presentation is for educational and informational purposes only. The information being presented and considered does not consider your particular financial objectives or situation, and it does not make personalized recommendations. This material is not intended to replace the advice of a qualified tax and legal advisor or other qualified professionals, and you should not use the information in place of a customized consultation with a licensed professional regarding your specific personal financial objectives, situation, and needs. We believe the information provided is reliable, but we do not guarantee its accuracy,